Welcome back to Comics, the podcast where me and my mom look at our comic book collection, and we do 2 issues every episode. And we're starting with a Marvel comic today, The Amazing Spider-Man 237, and we have Stilt-Man.
The Triumphant Return.
Yeah. The original Stilt-Man. So I believe this is his second appearance in Spider-Man. I didn't know this about Stilt-Man, but he was originally a Daredevil villain.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and they say the original. So I don't know if they're talking about the originality of the character, or it seems like maybe there was a second Stilt-Man.
Yeah. Interesting. He looks happy to be back, though.
He built eyebrows into his costume.
Skinny as heck. And Namor hair.
Yeah, he has like the hammerhead haircut.
Weird.
Head shape. But this is part of a series of comics I've been setting aside when I go through the boxes that have like distorted or broken covers, whether it's the font or on some of them it's like the paper itself is being damaged or something. And I always thought that was a cool trope or whatever of comic covers. I've noticed, this is just in our collection at least, that it's a lot more common in the Marvel comics. I've found like a 4-to-1 ratio where there's Marvel breaking the cover again, and very seldomly I'll have a DC one where that happens. I wonder why that is.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So, besides that, I just like the colors of this. Some of the best covers I feel like in our collection are Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's always been my favorite Spider-Man, too.
The amazing one. The Stilt-Man. Nobody takes him seriously anymore. So this is Wilbur, I believe is his name. He's in a seedy hotel room, and he's throwing all his periodicals. Yeah, Science Illustrated has Doc Ock on the cover. How Doc Ock does it.
Wow.
And Daily Bugle says men. That's the headline. And we have his Stilt-Man costume. That's the other thing that's cool about Stilt-Man is he has like a mask, but then he has the Spaceman helmet over top of it. So it's like a double helmet mask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One or the other would have sufficed. Like Mr. Freeze has a kind of a bubble like that in some of his versions, but he doesn't bother to wear a mask.
This guy goes too far.
He likes the extra layers. Pretty. And in this point of view, it's like an egg. It's like a weird cradle-shaped half egg.
That's bizarre.
So I don't know if the glass retracts. It must.
You know who
or does
he
he just like
reminds me
having a
of?
big tray behind his head?
He reminds me of that comedian, Dan Brennan, is it? Or what's his name? That's who needs to play him in the movie.
So he's kind of like that Spot villain where like he can be dangerous, but in that newer animated Spider-Man movie, they have the Spot as one of the villains, and he's kind of comical but evil.
Yeah.
So the Stilt-Man is kind of similar. He's recapping all of his adventures, and he's really just complaining that nobody respects him, and he's been very unsuccessful in his criminal enterprises. He was going to be rich and famous, he says. Wilbur Day was going to be the mouse that roared.
Oh.
So he worked for Carl Caxton, and he stole some hydraulic extension limbs from their scientific laboratory. That was in Daredevil number 8. So he goes way back.
Yeah, he does.
And he became the sinister Stilt-Man. He damaged helicopters until he was kicked in the face by Daredevil. That was about all it took.
In the face.
I mean, he's tall, but I don't think it makes him invulnerable.
You think that would make you more vulnerable? Because look at how...
He'd teeter right over,
Yeah, how tiny his little feet are.
So he says he learned from his mistakes. He knew he needed more power, so he modified his Stilt-Man suit and made it stronger than ever. And this was his second appearance he's alluding to, which I looked it up. It has Spider-Man in it, but it's another Daredevil issue. Okay. So Spider-Man's a guest star, and he talks about how he actually took out Spider-Man with his stun gas. So he defeated Spider-Man. He didn't... I guess he just left him left him for dead or something. You know.
He is
He was just
sinister.
satisfied to get one up
Wow.
on him. No one will ever recapture me now. That was in Daredevil 27. And then after that, his life became one succeeding series of defeats, he says.
Oh, Thor.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can't beat Daredevil. Well, he can't beat Daredevil. He can beat Spider-Man. Cannot beat Thor. It kind of makes sense. I feel like I'd rank Spider-Man a little higher than Daredevil, though. So
Yeah, but if it was Spider-Man's first tussling with him, he might not have realized that he had gas.
yeah, that's a Spider-Man. I feel like has to learn your weakness or use his wits most of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I guess that's true for a lot of the comic characters, but some of them they emphasize like, oh, it's their willpower, or they just got to be brave enough, or they got to just have enough grit where they keep going past their breaking point. But for Spider-Man, sometimes they do those things, but for a lot of the times it's like, oh, I use my scientific knowledge because I'm good at
Right.
school. Turns out if you're up on stilts, you're easy to push over. We learned that in science class. So there was another appearance, as you guessed, with Thor and Thor 269, where there was a computer entity, Faust, that rebuilt and refurbished. He's not really specific with what improvements are made.
Well, it looks like
Each
they
time.
fixed the feet. It looks like they're
They're a little,
They're bigger,
like
aren't they?
wider. They're as
Yeah.
wide as, it's like a tube. They're as wide as the leg, or slightly
Yeah.
wider, I guess. There's a little lip on them. So, of course, Thor, all he had to do was hit him with his hammer once.
you're done.
And okay, here's I should have remembered. Here's why we're referring to Wilbur as the original Stilt-Man, because in Daredevil 186, a guy hits him with a pipe and steals his stilts.
Jeez.
So he's saying, "Oh, my loot money from my last heist is starting to run out." He keeps his loot money in that lunchbox, and he hears on the radio that Tigro, the former Avenger, joined forces with the Amazing Spider-Man today. And he says, "Damn, Spider-Man, he's the only superhero I've ever beaten. Maybe I should go
Dang
after
it.
him. Daredevil's impossible to beat." I thought,
Can't even sneak up on that guy.
yeah, well, you think with Spidey sense, that's even better than having the radar. But
You would think.
what if I were to trounce Spider-Man again? Wouldn't that revitalize my reputation and establish my credentials? I'd have to vastly improve my armor. Doesn't he do that every time? But how? I was never much of a scientist. So that's the other thing about Stilt-Man, is he worked at that scientific research institution, but he wasn't a scientist himself or an engineer. He just stole their devices and said, hey, here's an idea. What if we used it for crime? That was his big contribution,
He's the IT guy.
basically.
Have you turned it off? Turned it on?
So he said, oh, what is this? An article in the Daily Bugle science section? That'll do. That will make Stilt-Man a force to be feared. So he sees something enticing that we'll learn about later on.
Reading is fundamental.
Meanwhile, Peter is walking sideways on this billboard.
For no reason.
Yep, just to show off. He's alluding to what's going on in Spectacular Spider-Man right now, so this is amazing. And he's talking about, well, there's a gang war between the Doc Ock and the Owl. It's weird to have somebody on the cover of like a science magazine. He's like, he's also in a gang war. Like, what if Neil deGrasse Tyson was in a gang war? It's a weird overlap. He's a gangster and a scientist. He's in the mafia, but he does chemistry. I don't know. So he's like, well, might as well go home. He's going to try to get a couple of hours of sleep, but he's still got to study for his finals because he's a graduate student, and he's got to develop photos that he shot for the Daily Bugle. And then he talks to Aunt May, and what's going on with Aunt May is Peter has his own apartment in a kind of a rougher part of town, and Aunt May has turned her house into a boarding house.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So she's like living with some other elderly people, and there's one guy in particular who I think she goes on to have a relationship with. I forget his name right now, but we'll see in a page or two. I love the arrow, like not sure which way to go. It really matters what order you read this dialogue.
They
in.
really resemble each other.
Mm-hmm. She has a very, like if you didn't see her blouse, it's kind of a masculine features.
Yeah, lots of hair and masculine, yeah.
She looks like she could be Reed Richards old.
Kinda, yeah.
So anyway, Peter is on the subway. He's like, I'll come to visit you soon. To Aunt May. He's on the subway and his spider sense kicks on. So he's like, I'm reacting to something in another car. So we get to see him going. It's kind of cool that he's going upstream because we're used to going left to right when we read it. So he's kind of going against how we're reading it. Makes the motion work, I think. It's strongest as I approach that mousy little guy who's clutching his briefcase. I can't believe that he's the threat. Must be Wilbur Day, the Stilt-Man.
Sinister.
His purplish gray hair.
This guy's got a pipe. You just know it. He's waiting.
Well, he's a little skeptical of his spider sense. And as he's considering, like, how could this guy be any threat, he bends down and makes this pinching motion. He's about to pinch his butt to see what he would do, but he gets away because a pickpocket is grabbing his wallet.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the man in the mustard hat. So he says, stop, thief, and he reaches out, but unintentionally sticks to him with his spider-sticking power, which looks kind of suspicious, but we won't get to see that until we get through The Incredible Hulk and the Magic Snake. I don't think we've seen this one yet.
No.
Lost in the Woods, the world's richest twins. The world's richest twins are found by the Incredible Hulk. This is where we live. Thank you, Mr. Hulk. We were looking for our puppy Scrapper when we got lost, Sniffle. Hulk will find dog. Later,
Oh, gosh.
Serpentino, the creepy crook, comes to kidnap the Hulk's new friends, Donnie and Dottie. Aha, there they are. I'll get a fortune for those twins. Okay, you kids are coming with me. Don't take anything that will slow us down. Can we take this? What is it? I don't let him take anything. You can take some things, but nothing that slows us down. I'm a criminal. It's the original Magic Snake puzzle, sir. Magic Snake, huh? How appropriate. I, Serpentino, can solve it. Maybe the Magic Snake puzzle will keep him busy until the Hulk gets back. You can make one interesting shape after another. Suddenly, bark, bark. Leave Hulk's friends alone. Hulk has found lost puppy and caught creepy crook. Bah, yay.
The puppy's just as mad as Hulk.
Yeah, he's pissed. Serpentino will have plenty of time to play with the original Magic Snake puzzle now. The original Magic Snake puzzle, over 23 trillion possibilities. Don't be fooled by substitutes. Magic Snake puzzle.
They gave Hulk
A product of Hirschco.
the 50-year-old divorcee haircut.
Do you think the Serpentino told the police, he's like, can I take this?
Yes.
Can we take this? What is it?
It's
Magic
just a
Snake. Then the cops got so distracted by
He
the
got
23
away.
trillion possibilities, he got away. So he sticks to the pickpocket
no.
here, and that guy's like, how could he have known? How could he have felt me grab that wallet? And those people seem to see it. Good thing they're in New York. Maybe, they're not going to remember what he looks like in a few days.
Oh, yeah.
So, in the ensuing pandemonium, as it says, Wilbur Day unobtrusively slips away. He looks so worried. He's such a pathetic villain.
He
well,
really
he kind of looks
is.
evil there, but
Ooh.
he has his moments, I guess.
That's his mouse roar.
And the cops tell Peter, did you get your wallet back, kid? I sure did, officer. What you did was brave but foolish. Just yell next time and let us do the catching. So, Wilbur gasses the security guard at this, this is Cordco. It's a subsidiary of Stark International. And he gasses him. He's got gas in a can. And let's see. He's going to get some kind of improvement to the
For his suit.
stilt suit, but they didn't. In my first reading, anyway, maybe I'll notice something different this time. But I don't think he ever specifies what it is that's going to make his suit so much better. he says like vague things. It's every bit as technologically advanced as the Bugle article stated. It's like, there's a tank. Are you going to make your
Oh.
feet tanks or something? That would be an improvement.
That would,
If you
yeah.
were rising as stilted legs rising out of two tanks that shot, that would be improvement over nothing. Just being able to get tall.
Can you imagine having shoes that would shoot?
That would be cool. I would
Could
use them
be.
all the time. Why not? Tony Stark is the inventive genius behind Cordco. Yet even Stark would never dream that Wilbur Day would put his designs to such sinister purpose. Yeah, but what purpose exactly? Just
Right.
vague evil? What's the problem, Deming? I put in a call to Blake at our Cordco plant in Long Island City. He didn't answer. He could have stepped away from his post for a minute or two. No, Blake's an old hand. He would have made sure that his shift was covered. I'll check it out personally. No need to tell Mr. Stark about it yet. Meanwhile, Aunt May is hosting her boarders and this weird beatnik looking guy.
Yeah, at first I thought that was Mohawk, but that looks like a beanie or a.
I think it's like a beret, but it almost looks like a mohawk.
Yeah, it does.
The perspective is weird on it, and it's so washed out. It's so much lighter than the rest of their clothes. So anyway, Peter's saying, "You're still the best cook in the world," and it was actually Mr. Chekhov that cooked. She says, "You don't even know your own caregiver's the taste of her food if he grew up there."
I don't know though.
I feel like I can tell the difference in how people cook. If you eat their food like for years at a time.
Would you be able to pick something that I made out of some?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Maybe. Well, if you knew that I was trying to guess, you would probably do something deceptive to make it more confusing. But if you didn't know that you were being assessed, I think it just depends on the thing. I mean, some things are pretty uniform in how they turn out and are made. Some things are more personalized.
Yeah.
Easy to personalize.
I wouldn't even know what like your favorite dinner would be from when you were a kid.
Really? Jeez.
Potato.
Just one potato.
One potato.
Potato.
With just
Yep.
pepper on it.
Potato.
It's potato.
I liked a lot of the dinners that we had. I liked that. I don't know what would be my favorite. What was your favorite meal to have in our household?
We had a lot of chicken.
I do like chicken.
We had lots of. Oh, what about those?
I feel like we had a lot of chicken thighs.
Yes.
And we would like bake them and stuff like that. That was a good meal.
That
I don't
one
buy
that-
that many thighs. I should start doing that.
Uncle Phil made with the potato flakes.
Yeah, that was
Those
good.
were good.
That was really good.
That's yeah.
So anyway, Aunt May is socializing with these people when this is Nathan. I think he dates Aunt May at some point, but he's a boarder right now. This guy's like
Okay.
coming up to Peter to give him unasked for advice. Trouble with the world today is that people spend too much time thinking and not enough time doing it. It's like, motherfucker, he was just out defeating Doc Ock. Why didn't you do something? Oh, you rolled around the living room today? Whoa! It's the problem with your generation is you're feeble. You contribute nothing. So he escapes the party to go patrol.
Boy.
And he's kind of worried about Aunt May paying for her mortgage and taxes. He says something about that, like, I don't know. He's worried about her finances. I don't know if those people are paying rent or if she just got lonely. So she's like, come, strangers, live in my house. That would be probably bad. The New Mutants, I like that.
Oh,
Easter egg.
cool. Yeah.
Hey, that Stark International security van may just be what I ordered. They don't travel that fast unless there's trouble. I guess Stark's security vans have like sirens on them, like a cop car going.
And tanks in them?
Yeah,
Holy
get the
cow.
little mini tank. So they're responding to Stilt-Man, who is building some really good legs, I guess. So he here's what he says. I guess it gets this specific. New hydraulic lifts, stronger, swifter than ever. And these Cordco machines are fantastic. All I need to do is program them, and they immediately begin crafting new alloy armor for me.
Oh,
And the rest of my new Stilt-Man costume won't be ready for some time. He has like a new type of metal alloy.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
a different blend, so it'll be stronger.
He's just printing up a new suit
Yeah, he's
while wearing
3D
his baggy
printing.
pants around.
He's like, I'll wear this steel diaper with long legs while I wait for the top to be done.
You know what's interesting though, and it goes against the character that they've shown us, because he's so mousy and he's just so paranoid and all that kind of stuff. And yet he's got these new fancy hydraulics that are gonna like lift him into the sky so fast. It's like, wouldn't he just be trembling while that was happening? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it goes against his
it makes him
mousy
feel
nature.
Yeah, that's his version of hulking out. It's like, normally I'm a pretty timid guy, but you get those stilts on me and I'm wild. I'll do anything, and it's like I'm a completely different person. That's what it says. With a slight pressure on a hidden control stud, Wilbur Day instantly increases his height from 5'7" to 30 feet plus.
Yeah, that would be terrifying.
Yeah, well, it's also pretty much an outdoor ability.
Well, yeah, true.
He's lucky he's in this giant warehouse, but
yeah, that's true. Uh-oh.
what if you accidentally set it off inside? Knock yourself out. So, Spider-Man has come to confront him upside down here. How did you know I was planning your demise? You've got to be kidding. I'm downright surprised to find you here. In fact, I doubt I'd even recognize you if not for your distinctive stretch socks. What'd I do to rank #1 on your hate parade? I defeated you years ago, my only real victory, yet never received any recognition for it. I mean to rectify that oversight today. Sure, see how far you get with your hamstrings hobbled. Hey, you shot right through my web slinging. So,
Interesting.
he has a specially designed silicone-coated leg unit. So that, I guess, yeah, that's a pretty specific upgrade. I failed to see, it's not a visible one. It's a transparent coating, apparently. Because he looks the same as ever. His character designed to me.
But anyone who's had a Teflon pan knows that, okay, a couple eggs will slide around. But then that fourth egg comes along and it's like, gosh,
It
damn.
wore off already.
Yep.
So he also can control all of the resources at this Stark subsidiary, which is a bunch of lasers apparently. They're like, oh, we've got a bunch of lasers pointing at the center of the room. We were doing tests on them. And so, of course, Spider-Man can dodge them all. And in fact, part of their research involves shooting heat-seeking missiles.
Oh, great.
We're doing some heat-seeking missile research. So let's see. There's some pretty cool action shots of Spider-Man here, little motion sequences. Amazing. Spider-Man is just a little guy, not much bigger than me, and yet he's holding his own against an entire factory programmed to destroy him. In fact, he's doing better than that. So here's those heat-seeking missiles.
Jeez.
I like the little dotted background.
Yeah, yeah.
Dots on the top.
I always liked the way that they drew Spider-Man and the agile way that he moved.
So his solution really is to lead them toward a wall and then dodge at the very last second so they can't correct their path. And it works. So he gets bonked on the head with this thermos full of gas.
Oh, God.
But Spider-Man knows to hold his breath because he learned from last time, all those years ago. And he remembers. Stilt-Man, though, says, I have a filter on my helmet. You have to breathe eventually, even if you can hold your breath for a really long time. He says, you're right. So I'm going to go up to this ventilation system here.
Aha.
Stay back, Spider-Man. I'm warning you, I won't be taken without a fight. Holy smokes, that device aiming itself at Stilt-Man. I recognize it. It's a sonic disruptor. I don't know if its blast will kill him through his armor, but I can't just stand by and find out. Stilt-Man, look out! What? Is this some kind of trick? The disruptor that Wilbur Day had himself set in motion fires, catching the amazing Spider-Man with its full force. Seconds later, as the Stilt-Man dismantles the disruptor before it can fire again. Spider-Man took a blast aimed at me. He may have saved my life, but there was no one here to witness.
Oh.
So that's the cool twist to this.
Okay.
It's not to just beat up on a lame villain, but they actually...
He learned something.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, I'm sure he'll come back, evil as ever, when he hits hard times again. He's lying unconscious at my feet. I could squash him now and claim victory. No one would ever know. No one but me. A short while later, we're almost to the doors, Mr. Martinelli. I want... What? Very loud footsteps. Footsteps, very loud footsteps. It's that Stilt-Man, and he's carrying Spider-Man. You owe this wall crawler a vote of thanks. If it hadn't been for him, I would have probably leveled your stupid plan. I don't have the stomach for that now. Tell him we're even when he comes to... While they're... I love that he's like giving this little self-righteous speech, and they're like actively shooting at him. It's like, tell him, thank you.
Oh.
So I do like that ending though, because like, I don't know, it wouldn't be satisfying if Spider-Man just kicked the crap out of him.
Right.
I don't know if you know, you obviously can't have Stilt-Man win. You know, in the long term, maybe he could win the battle. Like,
And it makes him more of a complex character.
Right. Those are the best villains. Are the ones that like, they're bad, but they have some kind of code to them. They're not just bad for the sake of being bad. That was one thing that's so great about Doctor Doom or Magneto, is that they can be good, or sometimes they... I actually just read the first Fantastic Four, where Doctor Doom has to help the three remaining members defeat a brainwashed Reed Richards, who's under the control of the Overmind, who's an Eternal with mind control abilities. And that was like the first Doctor Doom teaming up with them, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So, Stilt-Man. I really enjoyed that one. Looks like you've got Justice League International. So this is not your Papa's Justice League. This isn't Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, The Flash, all those guys. This is Blue Beetle. And Booster Gold. And Articuno. Black Canary. I couldn't remember.
And it's not that exciting, really.
If I remember correctly, sorry to interrupt, but I think, I haven't read one of these in a really long time, the International, but I think it's more of a comedy-based series. Like, it's got a sense of humor.
It's lighthearted. It's almost the...
Or like a sitcom kind of thing.
The Spidey of the Justice League.
So I think that makes it unique, because sometimes those iconic characters, Batman and Superman or The Flash, it's hard to make them relatable, because they're like avatars that have been around for like all of our lives, you know what I mean? Some of these lesser characters, there's room for new takes on them, maybe.
Well, exactly, and it gives you the opportunity to flesh out the characters more too. But so what we open with a news reporter who is complaining that he's got the hot seat. He's complaining that the Justice League is international, and they're opening up embassies all over the world.
And this is issue 8, so this is pretty early in the series. We're just in the first year.
So he ends up by, I'm Jack Ryder. Have a good day, if you can.
Oh, God. So he's like the fear-monger. He's the hot seat.
And we have Steven Spielberg down here. Was that Captain Marvel? I swear it was Captain Marvel. They're like, no, that's one of the movers. Settle down there, buddy. But people are all excited because they're in New York, and they're... setting up their new embassy headquarters. And we've got them kind of spread out, like with groups sometimes. Put this group here and this group here. So we've got the New York gang setting up, and they've Mr. Martian.
Oh, Martian Manhunter is in this one.
Yes, and he's talking to the movers and stuff. And he's telling them how... Well, that box needs to be in the sub-basement. Oh, okay. They'd go to lift it, and it's too heavy. And he's like, oh, I'll take it. He goes, oh, one question. Can I ask you a question? He's like, well, sure. They go, why do you need so many boxes of Oreos?
What?
Yes. He loves Oreos.
Martians do eat, In fact, we had Burger King and McDonald's long before you had them on Earth.
Yes.
Wow, that's goofy.
It's very goofy. So he goes to take the box upstairs, and the floor gives out. And gee, he left the crate. Anybody want to take a little break? I know where we can get our hands on a ton of double cream Oreos.
Are they implying they're not really Oreos, or is it in quotations because it's a brand name or like
Probably
a
because
trademark?
it's a brand name. I grew up with Hydrox. We didn't have,
Oh, that's like the off-brand Oreo.
yeah, the second Oreo, but they were good.
I think I've tried those. I remember them being good.
Yeah.
Are they really any different?
No.
Like
No.
a chocolate cookie with cream?
With cream. I remember as a kid, I was so proud of myself because I took like a whole row and took them apart and took the cream and made a great big ball. I thought, oh, this is going to be great.
Was it?
No, it was not.
How did you eat it? Just pick it up by the handful?
Like
and
an
bite it?
apple.
Ugh.
No, it didn't do what I thought it would. But anyway.
His hair is funky.
Oh, he's funky. He goes, John, yes, Captain Adam. I couldn't help noticing that you just fell through the ceiling. Oh, is that what happened? So yeah, we've got some of sarcasm. Are you all right? Perfectly. You want
They
me
make
to?
his brow and his facial features a little more human and realistic than they sometimes do.
Yeah, because from the side he's really got the Neanderthal.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Captain Adam is like, in this he's like the guy who's like, can I help? Can I help? And they're like, he's like, on Rocco, can you get that?
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. And there you go. You and Mr. Miracle continue your work on the security system. I have to discuss a few things with the movers. So he doesn't really want his help. So he's like, yeah, you know, go find something to do. So he goes into the next room. He sees all these cords hanging. He's like, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll fix this. And he goes and he plugs it in, but it's not ready. And as we know, the building isn't up to code like it should be for what they're using it for. So he plugs it in, and yeah.
It's weird to see in this era of comics. You'd never see this in some of our older comics. Ads for Zit Cream.
Yes.
Like you can tell the audience is changing because even in that Spider-Man one we just looked at, I feel like it's mostly ads for like toys or because there was the snake toy, bubble gum,
yeah.
other comics. It's more of a teenage audience, I guess, for the International Justice League.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Lifesavers.
Lifesavers.
D&D, that's more of like, I feel like an older kid thing. Maybe. Cracker Jacks.
But
Ziddles.
yeah, we've got our older teens here with the goofy internationals. So, and then he responds like he's being attacked. He's like, stop! He goes, oh, I thought we were being attacked. He's like, you just undid everything that I worked 8 hours for. And then the Martian hunter's like, what was that explosion? Are we under attack? He goes, oh, I thought we were. But don't be upset, Mr. M. These things happen. He goes off angry. And then look at how this actually is the face that I really like. But he goes,
Who's this little guy?
yeah, he shows up. And he's kind of, it appears that he is like the handyman, but they don't really go into it. So he goes, I'll deal with this later, Captain. Yes, sir. Hey, what's with Scott? He nearly trampled me on his way out. And with good reason, Captain Adam aside, this building is badly constructed nightmare. The walls and floors are cardboard. The wiring is faulty. Certainly in all of New York, the UN could have found... John, don't get so emotional. So he tells him to calm down and stuff. He goes, but the ceilings are terrific. Snicker, snicker. That was a joke, fellas. Thanks for telling us. I just hope the others are having an easier time than we.
Oh, no.
Lights go out. But of course, they'd have to be. Then we cut to Batman and the Green Lantern of this time.
Guy Gardner.
Yes.
The worst one.
He seems kind of dim.
That's kind of his character.
He's
like a bully or like an arrogant, quick-tempered.
A terrible haircut.
Yeah,
terrible.
Not good.
So they are confronted by these Russians, and the Russians are saying that they don't want him, the Green Lantern, because he snuck onto to Russian soil, which was off front, and he needs to give us respect. And Batman is trying to stand up for him and say, well, fellas, you got to get used to it. And this is funny here. He goes, Fyodor, why do we waste time talking? Let's break their kneecaps. And then this guy comes down. I believe I can assist. About time you got here. So Batman takes him as this guy explains.
Red Rocket. Or Rocket Red.
Rocket Red.
Rocket Red.
Listen closely, comrades, because I'm only going to say this once. So Batman takes him into their embassy, which is much better constructed. Everything's going smoothly. The Russians are setting things up perfectly. And then Batman goes, Guy, as soon as they're gone, I want you to sweep the entire embassy for bugs. Your power rings should be able to find even the most discreetly hidden listening device. He's like, what? You don't think they do that? He goes, I don't think it, Guy.
I know it.
I know. And he's already got something. So, and then, yeah, Rocket Red comes in and he goes, found what? Come on, Guy. It's, go check the, what does that say?
The monitor
hookup. And then we have this guy telling his driver, go faster, I've got to meet Batman. And I'm not going to be late. I've never been late in my life. And if I'm late, you're going to be late for dinner for the rest of your life. He's like, oh, God. And it's snowing, of course. It's Russia. Pick me up at 9 o'clock sharp. I'll be here at 8:30. Excellent.
Look at this. Sonic Disruptors, United States Army versus United States of Rock.
Are you kidding?
That looks so goofy.
That's really good. Was that a show?
No, it's a DC series. It's a 12-issue maxi series. A year
I
long.
didn't see that we had any of those.
No, I've never heard of it.
So anyway, they're
I like the headlights there.
yeah, the drawing is really great. The snow is intense. And you are the famous Batman. And you're embassy chief, Boris. Well, Boris Dmitrovich Razuin, I trust you can explain this. Shakes hands, pulls his hands away. Goes, explain? I don't understand. I think you do. Leaves the tiny little bug. It's like, oh, nothing to worry about, Batman. A tiny accident, a minor mishap, a slight misunderstanding, an infinitesimal error. Damn. And then we cut to our next team, which is
Mr. Miracle.
Yes, and he's being let in. This guy's shirt is intense.
Yeah.
For a scientist. Being let into this warehouse to show their new vehicle. And he's like, well, she'll do it for you, Mr. Miraculous. That's Miracle. Oh, sorry. Anyway, she's right in here. He takes her in. He's like, wow. So we'll get a peek at that later. Then we cut to our next team in Paris. And we've got Booster Gold and who is this guy? This view.
Maybe it's the Blue Beetle.
Yeah, there
Come
we
on,
go.
Beetle.
There we go. And they're checking out the girls. And and he goes, what? Okay. Hey, and speaking of ladies, what they say about the French women sure is true, huh? Yeah, now the trick is picking out the lucky ones who are going to spend the afternoon with us. Don't you think you're being a tad overconfident, not to mention sexist? I mean, you can't just pick out a woman the way you would a puppy. Oh, I'm not being sexist. I'm just confident in our charms. And then they notice this girl. And of course, Booster Gold, being confident in his charms. Oh, here we go.
Now this is for a younger audience.
That is for quite the audience. And we've got Alvin here
Looks a little drunk.
pitching his band to Don Johnson. That's interesting. That's terrifying.
Miami Vice.
Terrifying. So anyway, he goes to talk to the girl, and he comes back, and the beetle there is just laughing and laughing and laughing. He got shut down, apparently. They go back. Black Canary is with the movers, getting everything set up. And Mr. Gold here is like, oh my God, can you just stop laughing? And he can't. He just, he goes on to explain to Canary, and she's like, oh my God, you guys are such losers. And Booster is upset. He goes to leave, and he runs right into the same girl. And he's mortified. And she's like, oh, excuse me, moi. You must be the one they call Booster Gold. Yes, well, oh my gosh, it's her. Excuse me, I've got to be running now. He goes, oh, I hope she didn't recognize me. Black Canary comes up, hey, you're here. And she's, Black Canary, how nice to see you again. And she takes her to her office, and he runs out, mortified at the situation. And then we hear Beetle in the background. He's like, Beetle. Don't say it 3 times. Beetlejuice. And then we cut back to New York, and they're talking with the movers and the handyman. When they hear something's a-coming, it's Mr. Miracle with their new shuttle. And they're looking, they're like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't try to land on the roof. And as you can see by their faces, this is an excellent
This is the vehicle
drawing.
that Mr. Miracle was looking at. Waiting to be revealed. Oh, okay. It's pretty cool looking.
It's cool. And apparently, it's pretty fast.
It's going to crush the building, it sounds like.
Yeah, they're not having a really good day. He lands and
no.
all the way through.
I'm so embarrassed.
So the Martian Hunter is just beside himself. And
he has to practice an ancient Martian meditation technique. It's called screaming.
Actually, they give him a lot of the funny.
Yeah, he's kind of got a dry sense of humor.
Yeah. We'll have to read more of these and see if they continue.
I like this series. Yeah, it's nice to see like a day in the life of they're not even fighting some big intergalactic menace.
Yeah, it's kind of establishing who they are. I mean, Batman is a babysitter to Guy. And it seems like Guy is the guy who you can't tell everything to, because he'll in a monologue tell the bad guy exactly what's going to happen. And the Atom here is kind of an idiot, as he's proven.
Yeah, and so he's like silver, but with white hair. It's a weird... It's like the Silver Surfer. He's like, oh, you thought I was bald? I've just been shaving my head. You want to see me grow it out? No.
No, please, no.
It's weird. It's like weird frosting on your head.
And so we have the team together, and we've got like these guys talking, and then you see the beetle.
No, I didn't just spread toothpaste all over my head. No, that's my hair. Don't touch it, though.
It's so minty.
That's just my hairspray.
And we cut to the library meeting room, and Beetle is like, and she slaps him right in the face, and then tee. Oh, this is too funny. And Booster's sitting there.
Rocket Red is so straight. Does he ever get out of that thing just to be casual?
I don't think so.
He has to live inside there constantly?
I don't think so.
He looks like a transformer with those boots.
So they're meeting up together and chatting about their day. He goes, I know that blue beetle really doesn't mean any harm, but don't you think it's a trifle cruel making light of poor Booster's troubles that way? Oh, why don't you help yourself to some more Oreos, Guy? And then this little dude comes running in. Hey, fellas. Oh, and you too, Canary. This is it. Our first mission. So it's interesting. Who is this guy? It really doesn't explain. Just came over the wire. There's a bunch of super-powered lunatics running around in Bonn. That's just over in Germany, FYI, John.
That's... I know you're not from this planet, idiot.
I'll get the ship ready and then, yes, Scott, get the ship ready. But Beetle will be piloting today. But, so he goes, you'll get a chance, Scott, in a week or two. Beetle back there, nyuk, nyuk, nyuk. And Beetle, please stop that juvenile snickering.
Oh, there, Batman is there. I was gonna say, was he just he didn't come for the hangout session, or he just lingers
Oh,
in
there
the
he is, right
background?
there.
Oh, he's awkward. He's like, why doesn't he say anything?
He's got 2 fistfuls of Oreos. He's taking the stuffing out. I'm gonna ball it up and eat it. And somehow I don't think being in the league was gonna be quite like this. It gets better, Captain. It gets better. And then we cut to this news commentary.
Oh, this is the guy from the beginning.
No, this is a new guy.
Oh, okay.
And what is it that he says there?
On the international scene, the big news is the new global status for the Justice League. Today was moving day for the UN-sanctioned league. I'm going to say unsanctioned. UN-sanctioned league. And the reporters from every nation on Earth watched with curiosity and perhaps a little fear as the JLI began setting up its embassies.
And we have this disgruntled person listening in as the JLI come into town.
That brow really lets him shadow his eyes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. And he was in the dome, which I'm not really that familiar with. But I did get...
Maybe since World War II, the Dome has functioned as a virtual clearinghouse for superheroes the world over, bringing together heroes from all nations, with the notable exception of the U.S. and USSR, to combat evil wherever it flourished.
So the Dome is being shut down as he is watching the news and getting very upset with, and he's got this tick, 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 so the clock is ticking down for them as this file is uploaded to the JLI. And then this file is uploaded. And she goes, well, that's the last of it. We're finished. Is that all you can say? What is that?
Belphegor?
Belphegor. Damn it. Is that all you can say? Yeah, I'm not familiar with these characters.
The art style looks different, too. Is this like a B story in the end?
No, this is...
Yeah, old news. See?
Right. So, but this
It's like a
pertains
second
to... Yeah, it's almost like...
Epilogue or something like that.
It pertains to what is going on with...
Keith Giffen did the plot in pencils here. I think it was somebody different for the A story. Oh no, it's Keith Giffen. Well, son of a gun.
So these 3 are talking, and 2 of them are accepting the fate that they're being, they're being eased out of place by the JLI. The jack-o'-lantern, that's his name. And he isn't having it. And they're trying to tell him, don't get your Irish up, Jack. He's like, I am Irish and I'll get it up if I want to. And they're like, this doesn't affect the Guardians. We still exist. We still function like a neutered dog. So they're telling him to calm down, and he uses this power on his friends, and he takes off. He goes, the devil take you, I say. The devil take the lot of you. And she's like, why didn't you use your power on him? He's like, well, he was my friend. He is my friend. And then we've got...
That's kind of interesting. Wasteland.
Yeah.
Not much about it. It's pretty intriguing. Lack of information.
Yeah.
Is that fish
Read
poop?
these stories. Tremble from mortal terror of the most dangerous kind. Interesting.
Never heard of it.
I have to Google that. And then Jack is Jack. He's never going to change. Excuse me, Tura. Could somebody please tell me what's going on around here? What's the problem? What's the problem? I'll tell you what the problem is. I can't get any parking ticket. I can't get my parking ticket validated. They chuckle. They're like, oh my God. They've got Jack who took off and is going to get, in trouble. And so they start laughing. Okay, what's so funny? Could somebody please tell me? What's so funny? And then we see computer feed complete and transmission. So that's interesting. They are done. And then Jack-o'-lantern turns back to see the dome. We see his angry eye and his promise. It ain't over yet. To be continued. In the next
That's a cool
issue,
final page.
we have Batman done for.
Oh, Rocket Red's throwing somebody over the edge.
I know.
Martian Manhunter.
It looks like Martian Manhunter with that brow, but I'm wondering maybe it could be Jack-o'-lantern? Because it seems like he's up to no good. So bet you bite a chip.
Chips Ahoy.
All the Chips Ahoy.
Oh, wow.
So there you have it.
Gamma Marauders.
It wasn't a real interesting issue, but it maybe lays the groundwork for some more exciting issues in the future.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. It's a unique thing where it has so many characters in it, so it feels like he's spinning a lot of plates, the writer.
Yes.
But you also get to see their personalities interact more. That's not as action heavy as you would expect.
Right. I think I'd like to see where Martian Manhunter goes with his character.
Yeah, I like Martian Manhunter. He's interesting because he's so similar to Superman, but he's got just enough differences where he's kind of more grotesque looking.
Yeah.
He can also change his appearance. I think he's a shapeshifter. He just chooses to be in that base form. He knows that we all find it very hideous.
So that's it.
So if you enjoyed watching this, give us a like and a subscribe, and thank you for doing so.